It is that time of the week, time for the mailbag. Every day we get hundreds of emails and we feature around 10 of them a week on the Friday show. If you have something to say, you can email info@davidpakman.com. We'll occasionally feature a Twitter reply or a Facebook post or whatever, really. But info@davidpakman.com is the place to email. Let's start with something ugly. We'll build to the good messages, but we're going to start with something ugly. This is someone named LA Mob Squad who wrote to me about the subject: you and your senile diaper-wearing POTUS will forever be to blame for the collapse of the U.S. and our standing on the world stage. This is very weaponized. I'm warning you. LA Mob Squad writes, I hope you realize these 4 years will be looked back at historically as a humiliating, disastrous period in USA history, directly caused by delusional loons like you who make up the Democratic Party. Remember, I'm not a Democrat. I don't care about the Democratic Party. You can say completely ridiculous and illogical BS all you want, but we both know we're way past PASSED, the point where you can deflect blame and pretend that the USA, the West's drastic decline, fall on the world stage of this magnitude is falling on the shoulder of anybody other than senile Joe Biden. Wait, gas prices are up everywhere. It's not just Joe Biden. Many countries are figuring out what to do about Russia and Ukraine. It's not just Joe Biden. I don't even know what he's talking about. Going on to say, there's no way you or anybody else can make a case to the contrary while sounding even a tiny bit reasonable. Nope, we're way past that. This U.S. collapse will forever be on your shoulders, and it's effing hilarious in a super disappointing kind of way. You talk about Trump and then bring a guy in and you make us look like an effing weak, crumbling, decrepit, senile old bastard suffering from the severest case of brain rot. Good job, David. Y'all sure know how to pick 'em. Oh, and don't think it's over. We're 1 year in. Wait till China takes Taiwan. Y'all just need to shut the F up forever. You have so much nerve to even still be talking. You should never say another effing word to us again with this joke of a first year that's historically bad. LOL, never again. Sit the F down and be quiet. You've F'd enough S up already. I can't wait till 2024. The red wave is going to be breathtakingly glorious, and we both know it. Thanks for sucking, but shut the F up from now on, please. Y'all have been humiliated. Take the loss and sit down. Thanks. And then a bunch of clown emojis. Very, very weaponized. Needs no response, but this is just a reminder. One of the things I like to talk about is there are people with whom we can sit and talk and figure out political differences. What is the role of the U.S. on the world stage diplomatically, militarily, whatever? What should the top tax rate be? How should education be funded? There's people we can disagree with, but talk to. These are the types of people where I believe they are essentially a lost cause. In all practical terms, they are a lost cause. Next email is from Sophie. Sophie says, hey, David, Biden has chosen his words very carefully regarding the role of the U.S. military in Putin's war on Russia, and so has Jen Psaki. This has been the wording. The U.S. will not put military boots on the ground. Boots on the ground is used over and over and over. There are many types of military action the U.S. is capable of outside of literal soldiers on the ground. Yeah, this is a good point, and it's something we've talked about before. I believe that it is not an accidental choice of words or a coincidental choice of words. They are saying boots on the ground because probably everything else is on the table, quite frankly. And, people email me about drones. I don't know. That'd be a big step. But I think that it is not an accident, and there's a reason they are talking about boots on the ground as the line, because they want to leave open the possibility of up to almost anything else short of that. And we may soon see it. Chris writes in about William Barr's interviews. And here's Chris's view. Barr in his interview is simply giving Trump cover to protect him from criminal liability by opening the door for an insanity plea should the prosecution ever make enough headway. Besides that, how could he describe such an obvious state of delusion and then turn around and say he'd vote for such a person? I think the answer to that is Barr's just a horrible person. That alone should send a red flag as to his credibility. He betrays himself, gangsters, one and all. As with most of Trump's loyal supporters, he's most likely being extorted. Yeah, I just don't know about that. I'm just not sure about that. We don't have evidence of that. And it's not clear to me that that's what's going on. So I would be careful about making those assessments. It's conceivable Barr is trying to give Trump cover, but he's being blackmailed. Let's just be sure we know what we're saying and that there's evidence behind it. I'm just not sure about that. Mark wrote in with a correction. Sir, you are mispronouncing nukes. Dear sir, I'm a big fan of your show, but I recently noticed you have a penchant for mispronouncing nukes as nukes. Case in point, your recent video titled Concerns Grow That Putin Will Use Nuclear Weapons. Pronounced properly, it should rhyme with dukes, not rebukes. Dukes, not rebukes. Okay. I know you're a stickler for pronunciation, want to make you aware. Keep doing what you're doing, except for nukes. Yeah. Nuclear. Nukes, nukes. I hear the difference. Nukes sounds more natural to me, and I'm going to take that liberty, given that English is my second language. I think I'm sticking with nukes. People have written to me before and they've said, David, you use a liquid U when you pronounce the word new. Some people say a new car, new. I say a new car. I think I'm going to stick with it. I like it. Matthew writing in about our sponsor, Nebbia Shower. This is pretty clever. Hey, David, I had a question about your sponsor, Nebbia. Are these the types of shower heads where the water comes out dripping very quietly? Do you have to take a shower 10 to 15 times as opposed to once? I like to look into the elements of bathrooms very strongly before making a purchase. Please let me know. Thank you. Yes, a very, very important question. The Nebbia shower heads the water is not quietly dripping out. It is lower water use, but it powerfully comes out. You could bathe an elephant with it if you needed to. If you could fit the elephant in your bathtub, you could bathe it. But I get the Trump references. Thank you. Jake wrote in about the MMA fighter, Bryce Mitchell, who recently went on a delusional right-wing rant with right-wing conspiracies about Ukraine. Jake wrote, it's notable that guys like that MMA fighter have changed their thinking so much since the U.S. invasion of Iraq. Back then, it was if we don't fight them over here, we'll have to fight them. Back then it was if we don't fight them over there, we'll have to fight them over here. Now, under a Democratic president, they have no concern about what's happening in other parts of the world, even though it's obviously atrocious and it could bring war over here. That's Johnny, who I guess also goes by Jake. Yeah, it shouldn't surprise us that there is a stunning level of hypocrisy from a lot of these people. Now, I agree with not putting boots on the ground in Ukraine. Joe Biden has said that from the beginning. He should stick to it. I think it's the right thing, and I think he will stick to that by the letter of what he said. But it shouldn't be ignored that when the right wants to justify military incursions, as they did in Iraq in 2003 and have done elsewhere, and continued involvement in Afghanistan for as long as that went on, nearly 20 years, they often say, it's not that we want to be there, but if we don't fight them there, we'll be fighting them here. And many right-wingers accept that, and they say, that's good, that's common sense, that's logic. You're absolutely right. In this particular case, they're not saying it. They're just saying, no, we shouldn't do it. While, by the way, at the same time, saying Biden is being weak. They would criticize Biden if he, quote, started a war, as they love to say. And at the same time, they say Biden is weak for not doing enough. The point is, these are bad faith actors. You can't please them. And so we should pay enough attention to know what they're saying, but I don't think we need to take them very seriously. They're not good faith actors. Next email today is about about RT's YouTube channel, RT being Russian state media propaganda. Hi, David. Today, I love this. The delightful naivete of this email. Hey, David, today I found a Russian-backed YouTube channel called RT. All of the videos are pro-Russia and anti-West. If you read the comments on the videos, they are all pro-Russia as well. Many of the misleading videos on this channel are disgusting. I just wanted to get your opinion on if you think YouTube should shut it down and join the other hundreds of companies that have already pulled out of Russia. Yeah. So first of all, I I envy someone who has not been suffering through knowing that RT exists and the content that they produce for the last decade. Now, as many of you know, I used to appear as a guest on RT when invited, thinking I'll go wherever and give my views. But once it became clear to me that like barely anyone was watching this stuff in the US, and it's not even worth my time to appear, nor do I want to be associated with it in any way, I just started turning down all invites. And I've probably turned down, I don't know, 8 invitations there over the last few years. I would love instead to just not even be aware that there was this propaganda thing being disseminated in the US. Now, that being said, for the person emailing, YouTube demonetized the RT channel and marked it as Russian state media, and RT America ceased operations. So it's over for now, at least. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Last email today is from Julia about the term strongmen. Julia says, "Hey, David, please stop referring to Machiavellian madmen as strongmen. It's a misleading connotation when what they actually are is cowardly, psychopathic bullies who con and rely on their minions to brutalize and oppress others for their own narcissistic gain. That term gives people a way too positive idea about them and allows the weak-minded a rationale to follow them." Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, sometimes I'll refer to dictatorial authoritarians. I think the problem is sometimes they're not literally dictators. So to just call them dictators isn't accurate, which is why I'll often say authoritarian strongmen. But it would be good to have a different term, maybe dictatorial authoritarians or wannabe dictators instead of strongmen. I'm open to that. But a good point, Julie. I appreciate you emailing in about that. If you have a topic for discussion for the mailbag, you can email info@davidpakman.com. Please don't abuse the email address. In all seriousness, we get a lot of crap in there. But you can email info@davidpakman.com. We have a great bonus show coming up for you today. You get access to the bonus show by becoming a member at joinpakman.com.